Alright, it's reset day in Destiny 2, and in this video we're jumping in with a bunch of updates from Bungie ahead of the weekly reset. On top of that, of course, we get a patch today, so there'll be some additional changes in there. We'll talk about those. Alongside the first refresh for Renegades content, I'm curious to see exactly what we're going to get there, but additionally there is new seasonal content, in a sense, with the arrival of Vanguard alerts, so we'll break down exactly what to expect from those in a bit more detail. And Bungie have launched a new, kind of secretive, almost by accident because they didn't talk about it a lot, but yeah, it's a community event, which is kind of interesting, so we'll round that up, as well as a few other things. If you guys enjoyed the video, a rating very much helps me out on the channel, but now, let's get into it. And so the first thing to be aware of today, we do have a patch, and that will include a bit of downtime. So for Tuesday, December 9th, we have update 9501, and at 7:35 AM Pacific, D2 and all APIs will be brought offline for expected maintenance. So players will be removed from activities then. And it means around an hour and a half of complete downtime for Destiny, where the servers should be back online at 9 AM for reset itself. And that's when we'll also get the patch, as well as the patch notes. So I'll keep you posted with any of the important details on those a bit later on. Before we get into other content things though, Bungie have given a heads up on a handful of items. So they've said, due to an issue where the activity can't be completed, the Master Conductor's Keep conquest has been temporarily disabled until a fix can be deployed. Not sure what the issue actually was with that one, but currently it's unplayable until they can get a patch sorted. And then they also said we've resolved an issue for players where rewards in competitive Crucible were inconsistent when hitting a B+ Diamond 2 score, and rewards should more accurately drop at the correct tier now. So if you're playing a bit of comp, that's useful. Let me know any impressions you have of the comp playlist early on in the season. I haven't touched any PvP stuff, but otherwise they have said they're aware of an issue where players who own all 3 dungeon keys can still purchase the Light and Dark Saga dungeon key. This is unintentional, and players who purchase the pack while owning the dungeon keys will receive a refund in the future. So just something to be aware of there. I'm not sure why players are purchasing it again unless there's some confusion about the upcoming dungeon this weekend. On Saturday 13th, that's when we get Equilibrium. Just bear in mind, that is part of the Renegades content itself, so there isn't a separate dungeon key actually required for that one, which is good. And I'd like to get your general expectations for that dungeon coming up down in the comment section. A final mention before we get into updates for this week, but Bungie have also said, watch your favorite D2 streamer on TikTok US for at least 3 minutes to receive a code for the Unwritten Patience emblem. And those drops are active until December 12th, so a couple more days for that one if you use TikTok. It's also funny that Bungie say 3 minutes and you'll get an emblem called Unwritten Patience. I guess these days 3 minutes of attention span probably does constitute patience when it comes to consuming media. Anyway, those are the updates ahead of the patch, but I will keep you posted with the additional changes that we get at reset itself. Next up, let's speak about Vanguard alerts, which is a new kind of seasonal piece of content, or an update to the portal and the season hub, more specifically, but it is separate to Renegades, so I think everything included in Vanguard alerts is technically free to play, perhaps with the exception of some of the endgame content like the raid, which will also be featured. So in relation to Vanguard alerts and what to actually expect this week, Bungie have said to complete Vanguard alerts, open the seasonal hub and go to the new alerts tab. Here you can view the playlist and activities for the week, see the rewards and the activity challenges. These will rotate on a weekly basis, so every week should feel like a new challenge is waiting for you and your friends. Additionally, the playlists contain a set of activities including the new 6-player PvE arena ops that are fast, uncomplicated to complete, and have preset modifiers. And these are the best for players who want to relax and play some PvE while still earning great rewards. But there's an additional layer of difficulty here, which are Grandmaster Vanguard alerts, where you and your fire team can test your metal and your newly acquired rewards and power level. And rotating weekly, Grandmaster Vanguard alerts should take slightly longer and offer greater rewards for your time and effort, as they are harder than the usual Grandmaster difficulty found elsewhere in the portal. And Bungie say specifically we can think of these as the kind of Grandmaster Nightfalls of old, so one of the featured activities will indeed be the Sunless Cell on Grandmaster, and I guess unlike the rest of the portal where the loot rotates and changes on a daily basis, there will be fixed specific rewards for Vanguard alerts every week. And more about what that looks like, Bungie said, each week, Vanguard, Arena Ops and Crucible alerts will offer a multi-stage challenge with rewards and XP granted for each stage completed. The weapons earned from completing each stage will be tier 3 or above based on your account power, and will be among the highest power drops that you can earn in Destiny 2, so if you are still power leveling, these should be pretty beneficial. On top of that though, they're a primary source for seasonal weapons featuring the Accelerated Assault origin trait, which loads a small amount of ammo to the weapon after dealing sustained damage. So I think you can also get that trait on the fixed role Renegades weapons, so In terms of the core reward, it will be a featured weapon every week, which will help with farming for specific roles, but also, if you run the Grandmaster variants, you'll get that additional origin trait included. On top of the weapon reward though, once each week you can earn the following bonus rewards for completing the first stage in the alert category. So the Vanguard alert will drop 50 chronologs, Arena Ops and Crucible though will drop 50 bright dust. So I guess it is a small bonus, and they can repeat the playlist activities and receive regular rewards based on score with a random chance of gaining another seasonal weapon with the origin trait. Additionally, completing Grandmaster Vanguard alerts with a grade B or higher will reward one pinnacle weapon with the accelerated assault origin trait and bonus XP. Then completing Desert Perpetual and the Renegades dungeon weekly challenge grants a seasonal bonus powerful gear reward from either activity. So that's kind of how it works. And there's a degree of it being similar to Nightfalls that we've had in the past, but I'm guessing the weapons that are featured are basically portal weapons. And obviously that can still be useful if we get, some of the juicy things featured, like the new Rocket Pulse, for instance. Moving forward, I suppose one of the other things Bungie should consider is actually having unique rewards for Vanguard alerts. I personally still miss the kind of adept weapon component we've had in the past, but regardless, it's an additional featured reward pool and an activity on a weekly basis, so give me your impressions of that in the comment section. On the Renegade side, we don't really know if we can expect anything particularly unique or different this week. We'll have to investigate after reset, but obviously there will be the dungeon component on the weekend, and we'll get those weekly shipments that we've been able to earn by scoring ranks with the factions. So we'll see what that's about at reset, although there is a separate kind of community event actually outside of the game that Bungie have just announced. So they say in celebration of Renegades and the introduction of Syndicates, we have a fun event happening outside of the game led by the creator community. So it's called Oath of the Renegades. We can support our favourite content creators by taking the Oath of the Renegades and logging in through Bungie.net. Join creator communities as they act as Syndicate lieutenants, form new friendships and have some fun. On scheduled creator streaming days, victorious Syndicate lieutenants and people who've pledged to that Syndicate will have the opportunity to receive displays, collector's editions, game codes, emblems, and more from the lieutenants, so I guess they'll be distributed via particular live streams, and at the end of the event, the winning creator syndicate as part of the Oath of the Renegades will unlock an emblem for the entire community to adorn in 2026. So I guess the reward overall is that emblem, which will be available for everyone, obviously next year when Bungie actually release it, but there's a webpage for it where you can get more details. They also have separate acts, and it appears that this will run up until towards the end of January. On the website, you can track top players for the event, the specific lieutenants which are featured, and the faction scores overall at any given time. So I will link that down below. Just keep in mind, it doesn't have gameplay benefits or rewards specifically, but more of a fun opportunity to see how highly you can score, both as an individual and, of course, for the specific factions and lieutenants. So that is linked in the description box. But for now, that's what we have to speak about in this video. I'll keep you posted with patch notes and things later on, as well as any juicy Renegade stuff that might be beneficial. But for the moment, if you've enjoyed the video, a rating really would help us out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I can keep you up to date with everything related to the game. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in and I hope you guys have an awesome day.